Hello and welcome. So glad you're here. In this course, we're going to be talking about the autonomic nervous system and how the autonomic nervous system, specifically the vagus nerve, helps with the gut-brain function here. So I'm excited to jump into this topic with you. I'm assuming that you took the quiz, and that is why you've been placed in this course. So this is going to be kind of the most important thing for you and the specific brain dysfunction that you're experiencing. So let's look at some of our objectives here. So the autonomic nervous system is basically the body's autopilot. So it's controlling everything that you don't have to think about. It's the reason you can breathe and digest without any conscious effort. It's controlling your heart rate, breathing, digestion, all of those things. But when it's not working correctly or when it's out of balance, it can cause a wide range of frustrating symptoms. It could be chronic fatigue, feeling wired and tired, digestive issues like bloating or constipation or sluggish digestion. Sometimes it can manifest as anxiety and brain fog, a constant feeling of unease and difficulty focusing, and it can even lead to poor sleep, either difficulty falling asleep or early morning awakening and then having trouble falling back asleep. So all of these have some connection to the autonomic nervous system. And so this is why you're here. I'm assuming that you are experiencing some or all of these symptoms. So the objectives here are to understand the brainstem better. We're probably not going to go into a deep dive into the brainstem, but we are going to kind of cover the three major parts of the brainstem and the major functions. We'll mention the cranial nerves that come off of the brainstem, but we're definitely going to leverage your time with us and give you the most vital information, the most fundamental information. We're going to talk about the vagus nerve, which is cranial nerve number 10, and its connection to the gut. We're going to talk about how to help activate your parasympathetic nervous system, which deals with rest and digest functions. We're going to talk about methylation and autoimmunity and what connection they might have to brainstem health, and then give you an opportunity to start thinking about and creating a personalized long-term protocol to help balance this system. So first, let's start with the autonomic command center. So your brainstem is made of kind of three general areas, and they basically differentiate these areas based on the type of neurons or the type of nerve cells that are in each part of the brainstem. And so initially you have the medulla oblongata. This is the very lowest part of the brainstem, and then up from there is the pons, and then on top of that is the midbrain. And each one of these has a kind of different cells that go through all three areas, and then other cells that are very unique and exclusive to that particular area. And this is kind of that control center. It used to be called kind of the most primitive part of the brain. You know, there used to be information that was like the primitive part, and then we layered a part on top and a layer and a part on top and layered a part on top. That's not considered true anymore, but this is still a vital and important part of the brain. And then we're going to talk about the vagus nerve. So the vagus nerve is cranial nerve 10, comes off of the brain stem. It's the longest cranial nerve, and it innervates all the way through the digestive tract. It's also considered a parasympathetic nerve, so it deals with rest and digestion. It also mitigates inflammation throughout the entire body. Stimulating the vagus nerve can reduce inflammation in the body. We'll touch on the sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight nervous system, where your body secretes cortisol and adrenaline and shunts all of the blood into the muscles in the extremities to help you run. And then the parasympathetic shunts all of that blood into the digestive organs to help you digest. So, as we've mentioned, the brainstem basically controls all of these autonomic functions like breathing and heart rate and digestion, swallowing. So when it's not working correctly, you might have constipation or slow motility. You could have a low heart rate variability or shallow breathing. You could also have sleep disturbances such as insomnia or sleep apnea. So let's talk about the vagus nerve, because vagus is kind of the best gateway into the brainstem. There's a lot that we can do to activate the vagus nerve, and then that activation is going to go directly into that specific part of the brainstem. So the vagus nerve is bidirectional. It's carrying information from your brainstem down through your digestive tract, and then it's carrying information from your digestive tract up into your brainstem, and then normally that information is then relayed to other parts of the brain. As we mentioned, it is parasympathetic. Some nerves are more sympathetic, some nerves are parasympathetic, some nerves have both. And I believe that the vagus nerve has a little bit of both, but it's primarily parasympathetic. And then one of the ways that we can measure the autonomic nervous system, or vagal tone, if you've heard of that term, how well the vagus nerve is functioning, is called heart rate variability. And so the more variation you have in your heart rate, or the more responsive your heart rate is, the better your heart rate variability is. So if you're in a stressful situation, your heart rate is going to go up, but then you should recover quickly and your heart rate will go down. And so that creates a lot of variability in the heart rate, and that's ultimately what we want. So, as you've noticed as you've gone through this class, you probably see that it's pretty much the same stuff over and over that's damaging the brain and the nervous system. Chronic stress, inflammatory foods, maybe some sort of autoimmune condition. Autoimmune is when your body's immune system starts attacking your own body's tissues, so specifically nerve tissue. So this is kind of the same stuff over and over again that is causing these problems. Then also, we want to look into methylation. So methylation is a process that uses different B vitamins to create different neurotransmitters. So these methyl groups, or these different kind of molecules, basically are utilized for making neurotransmitters such as dopamine or serotonin. And so you've got to make sure that you have enough of these methyl groups. And the best way to do that is to supplement with activated forms of the B vitamins. So folate, L5, MTHF, or B12, methylcobalamin, or B6, P5P. These are all activated forms of the different B vitamins. And it's possible that you're not a good methylator. You may have heard of the MTHFR methylation, or gene mutation. So depending on if you have an MTHFR gene mutation, you might just be a poor methylator, which is going to cause problems here. So indications that you might be a poor methylator, and you might want to get additional testing to see if you have MTHFR, or to see if you want to supplement more significantly. There's elevated homocysteine. This is a lab marker that's most often associated with cardiovascular health, but it also is an indication of excess inflammation in the body. You might have some psychiatric symptoms, depression, anxiety, irritability. That's common if you're not a good methylator. Cardiovascular issues, so your heart rate variability is not going to be good. You're going to have poor circulation or cold extremities, and maybe some sleep disturbances, difficulty with those sleep-wake cycles. So we talked about these different B vitamins and how important they are. The folate, so this is an active form of folate that your body can use. Most people don't use folic acid. So if you're taking folic acid, I know this is often recommended for pregnant mothers. The research shows that the L5-MTHF is a much better supplement. In the first course, we talked about the difference in supplements where some of them are third-party tested and they go through quality assurance protocols to assure that the amount of the supplement and the type of the supplement is actually in there. There's not great regulations when it comes to supplement companies. So many of the cheaper supplements either don't have the what they say that they're going to have in the bottle, or they're using really poor quality ingredients. They can still call it a B vitamin, but that B vitamin is not actually absorbable or usable. And so you're basically just wasting your money, even though you're not paying very much. So you might as well pay more for a supplement that actually does what it says it's going to do, has what it says it's going to have in the ingredient label. Methylcobalamin, vitamin B12, is essential for nerve function and brain health and energy production. P5P, which is vitamin B6, helps to make neurotransmitters like serotonin and melatonin, and this is going to affect your mood and your sleep. And so if you don't have enough of these, you might have some mood swings or poor stress tolerance. And there are some medications. I can't recommend medications, but there are some medications that make it harder to methylate. So sometimes birth control pills, different types of birth control, acid blocking medications, and then we mentioned the genetic variations like MTHFR. All can affect your ability to methylate. So we're going to touch briefly on autoimmunity. So autoimmunity is basically when your body's own immune system starts to attack your body's cells. If this is happening, you need to get this under control. At this point, there is no cure for autoimmunity, but you can go into a remission, or you can, stop this inflammatory immune response to keep your tissues healthy. And there's usually some sort of cross-reactivity with different foods. Sometimes this is called molecular mimicry, basically where and the most common example is with the thyroid gland, even though we're talking about the nervous system, where the gluten protein looks very similar to the thyroid gland proteins that make it up. And so when you consume too much gluten, then your body activates an immune response to help process that gluten, and then that immune response is going around your body and it recognizes your thyroid gland is looking similar enough to the gluten protein, and so your body starts to attack that gland as well. This is one example of molecular mimicry. And as we've discussed in previous modules, the leaky gut or a leaky blood-brain barrier, this is another way that autoimmunity can be caused because you're having these chemicals, larger molecules, that are going into the body. And so the immune system mounts an attack on these larger molecules, and sometimes the immune system mistakenly attacks some of the body's own natural tissue. Other triggers besides gluten, dairy is a common trigger. Eggs may cause some cross-reactivity. All of these things can, anytime autoimmunity can cause digestive dysfunction, it can cause movement disorders. And what we're here to talk about today is autonomic dysfunction. So, temperature regulation issues can also cause some sleep disturbances. So most traditional systems of medicine believe that health starts in the gut. So normally for most people, the first thing that they notice is some sort of digestive distress. Could be long-term constipation, gas or bloating, diarrhea. That's kind of where it all begins. And then over time, there could be more issues that start to show up. Movement disorders, autonomic dysfunction, sleep dysfunction, but it usually starts with the digestive system. So let's get into some vagus nerve protocols. There's this breathing technique called the 4-7-8. So you inhale for 4, you hold for 7, you exhale for 8, and you just keep going with that, counting, and that can help to get you into a more parasympathetic state, regulate the autonomic nervous system, help to activate the vagus nerve. There's also physical stimulation. So deep gargling is a favorite. We call it deep gargling because basically you're gargling for a long period of time, as long as you can last. I usually have people try and shoot for about 5 minutes or until their eyes water. It's a lot of gargling in order to activate that, but that is where the vagus nerve kind of begins, back there in the pharynx at the back of the throat. Humming also activates this area. Singing activates this area. And some people do cold therapy. This is big right now. This can activate the vagus nerve as well. So cold exposure therapy, cold showers or cold plunges. Massage and manual therapy, especially of the ear or the sides of the neck, really gentle, even some abdominal massage. These are different points that you can access the vagus nerve. And then some chiropractors and massage therapists specialize in techniques that stimulate the vagus nerve. So you can also look into that as well. So because the vagus nerve deals so much with the gut and with digestion, it's really important to understand a little bit about digestion and what you can do to digest your food well. I imagine most people are already doing this, but basically when you think of food, your body starts to secrete the enzymes needed to digest that food. So this is the cephalic phase of digestion. And sometimes it can be helpful just to kind of slow down before you eat, maybe a little routine, say a prayer or something like that, and then ensure that you're chewing your food properly. Most people are watching something or on their phone, and they're just not paying attention to their food, and they're definitely not chewing their food adequately. So these gentle interventions on how you eat as opposed to what you eat, which is mostly what we talk about, can be really, really helpful. So here's this mindful eating routine. Take a few deep breaths, express gratitude, smell your food, chew slowly and mindfully. All of this is going to activate your vagal system and help you to digest your food better. So let's talk a little bit about heart rate variability. Heart rate variability is a biomarker for measuring the vagus nerve or your autonomic health. And there's a bunch of different tools out there that we'll talk about. You just want to find one that works well for you. And then you want to try and increase your heart rate variability, either through coherent breathing or exercise or getting adequate sleep. So HeartMath has been around for a long time. They have some HRV. There's HRV for training, elite HRV. These are all tracking options. Some of them have different sensors that you have to put on your body. Other ones use your smartphone camera on your finger. But all of them take a time commitment. You basically have to, first thing when you wake up, you have to kind of put the sensor on and then get your heart rate variability score. And then you have to do that continuously in order to maintain that score. And then mentioning the coherent breathing here. So 5 breaths per minute, 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out, for 5 to 10 minutes. This is coherent breathing. This can help you to improve your HRV. And, the goal of all this is to experience more calm, and to not be so affected by daily fluctuations and frustrations. And then, this isn't going to happen overnight. So look for the trends over weeks or months. And we've talked a lot in these different courses about sleep optimization. So just make sure that you're getting adequate deep sleep, aligning your circadian rhythm. So I usually say bed before 10, up before 6, making sure that your sleep environment is dark and quiet and cool. So then once you wake up in the morning, it's good to get some light exposure. Optimal is sunlight, but if you don't have access to sunlight, turning on the lights in your house, making sure your bedroom is cool at night, and then as I said, trying to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep. And a deep sleep should be 15 to 20% of the total sleep time. If you're getting adequate deep sleep, you'll wake up feeling more refreshed and energized and clear-headed. A lot of people are sleeping an adequate number of hours, but they're not getting an adequate amount of deep sleep. So tracking your deep sleep can be really helpful, but you'll know if you're getting enough deep sleep because you'll wake up feeling refreshed. And then always stress, managing your stress well is so important, especially in this day and age where there's a lot of different stressors. So meditation, breath work, progressive muscle relaxation, lots of different strategies for stress management. Find the one that works for you. I don't have a horse in this race. If you don't like meditating, don't meditate, but find something that really works well for you and helps you manage stress. And maybe that's, a counselor or a support group or whatever it may be. There's no right answer here. The right answer is whatever is right for you. So let's talk a little bit about creating your protocol here. So I've introduced a lot of different interventions. Some of them you may already be doing, some of them may be new to you. So depending on what's new to you, pick one or two and start to habit stack. So take something that you're already doing and then incorporate that, this new intervention right after the thing that you're already doing so that it just becomes a natural part of your day. And then monitor your progress over time and see how these changes, these new habits, these new strategies that you're implementing over weeks or months start to affect your autonomic nervous system and help it function better. So just a little recap here. Your brainstem controls a lot of different functions in your body. It's extremely important for it to function optimally. The vagus nerve is a big part of the brainstem and the gut-brain connection. And then stimulating the vagus nerve can be really helpful if it's out of balance. And then tracking your progress with HRV can be really helpful as well. And then if you need, work with a qualified professional. So that was a dive into the autonomic nervous system and how you can support its function. I hope that was valuable for you. If there's anything additional that you felt like I needed to talk about more or you'd like more information about, please leave some comments. Let me know how I can improve this course to make it work best for you. Thanks so much for watching.